Good morning, everyone. I'm Professor S. Gopalakrishnan, Department of Master of Computer Applications. In this session, I'm going to present about constants, arrays, and strings under object-oriented programming. Object-oriented programming is having a primary constraint and key concept. Under the key concept, we are having three different concepts: constants, arrays, and strings. Constants are similar to variables, but their values are fixed and cannot be changed after definition. Arrays is the collection of similar data type under one variable. Array is a collection of similar item which are stored in a consecutive memory locations of a. Strings are used to storing text. A string variable contains a collection of characters surrounded by double quotes. Constants. Constants refer to the fixed values that may not be changed or altered. It is also called as literals. Constants are treated as like regular variables except that their values cannot be changed after their definition. Constants can be of any data type, that is, constants of literals, that is, integer literals, floating point literals, Boolean literals, character literals, and string literals. Constants of literals are integer literals, float literals, Boolean literals, character literals, and string literals. Declaration of constants. That is, constant can be declared by two ways. It is has defined preprocessor, const keyword. So we are using the const keyword to declaring the constant, or we can declare it with has defined and preprocessor variable is to be mentioned. Syntax of constant for has defined preprocessor, that is has defined constant under name value. For constant const keyword, const data type variable name. So in this way we can declare the constant in the program. This is the example program. Here the constant is declared. So pi value is constant wherever we are using. So this program is used to finding out the area of circle. So for that we have declared variables like floating point number, that is a data type, area and radius. To calculate the area and radius of a so based on these two values, so we are going to calculate the area of circle. That area of circle formula is area equal to pi into radius into radius. So the pi value is the constant value. So we can declare the variable pi. It is in the form of floating point data type. That floating point data type pi variable is declared as a constant variable. So we have used the const variable, const keyword, while declaring the variable pi. So here we have declared the constant variable, that values are constant here. So if we are declaring the values of constant is common, by the time we have declared like has defined, then value. Next is arrays. An array is a collection of similar data type which are stored in a consecutive memory location under a variable. It is used to store multiple values in a single variable instead of declaring separate variables for each value. All arrays consist of contiguous memory locations. Lowest address corresponds to the first element and the highest element corresponds to the last element. The memory locations in the array are known as elements of array, which can be accessed with reference to its position in array, and this is called as this video session, we are going to discuss about the types of arrays. Array can be classified of three different types: single dimensional arrays, two-dimensional arrays, and multi-dimensional arrays. One-dimensional array or single-dimensional array. One-dimensional array is an array in which one subscript specification is needed to specify a particular element of array. Declaration of 1D array, data type, array name and size. For example, integer marks of 10 equal to 10 marks have entered. Memory representation is mark 0, mark 1, mark 2, mark 3, mark 4, mark 5, mark 6, mark 7, mark 8 and 9. So the array memory location is calling from, memory address is calling from 0 to n minus 1. In this array, totally of 10 memories are to be allocated. The address is starting from 0, so it is ends with the highest index of 9 in this particular array. Here, there is an example program. It is integer type of array of 50. So ARR is an array name. So in that particular array, we can enter 50 elements. So the 50 elements memory address is calling from 0 to n minus 1 means 0 to 49 memory is to be allocated. Count how many elements you want to store in the array. So how many number of elements we need to store. The element stored the array, it is consecutive memory is calling for storing the elements. So that we have mentioned a loop is called for loop, that is int I equal to 0, I is less than n, I plus plus. I is initialized with the value 0, so that is incremented 1 for each and every memory location. It is calling till n value. N value means what may be the array length. Based on that, the n value will be assigned. For example, that is in this program we have entered the array is 50. So memory location 50 memory is to be allocated. So it is calling, or the value of array address is incremented till it's reached the 50 memory locations. The elements in the array is mentioned as the elements for each and every address. What are the elements are to be stored, that will be displayed as an elements of the particular array. Two-dimensional array. The two-dimensional array can be defined as an array of arrays. It is organized as matrices which can be represented as the collection of rows and columns. Declaration of 2D array is data type, array name, rows, columns. So row is an one variable, the other variable is columns. Integer marks of 2 by 3, 2 and 2 rows and 3 columns. So it is a 2 by 3 matrix representation. Here 2 by 3 matrix is declared like integer type. Marks is an array name. 2 rows and 3 columns memory is to be allocated. So after declaring this particular array, memory will be represented like row 1, row 2 and column 1, column 2, column 3 is to be allocated. It's an example program. This array 4 by 2. So this is 4 by 2 matrix, 4 rows and 2 columns. So that we can enter the elements for 4 rows and 2 columns. So by the time 10, 11, 20, 21, 30, 31, 40, 41. So 10, 11 is 2 rows and first column. Sorry, first row for 2 columns, and 20, 21 is the second row and for 2 columns, and 30, 31 is third row, 40, 41 is for fourth row. Integer I and j, so I is calling mentioned as row and j is calling as column. Printing a 2D array is I is 0, the I is less than 4, I plus plus. So there are 4 rows are to be mentioned. So the row memory is calling from 0 to 4. It is incremented one by one. J is equal to 0. The initial value of j, that is j is mentioned as column. So that is j is less than 2 and j plus plus. Multidimensional array. Multidimensional arrays are defined in the same manner as single-dimensional arrays, except that a separate pairs of squares brackets are referred for each subscript. Here the maximum limit of arrays depended on the compiler. Declaration of 3D array. Data type, array name, A, B, C, G till n. Example, integer, num, 555, etc.